All right. So let's see. So yeah, we got so we're coming live now. Let me see. Anybody who's in the comments, anybody that's here right now, feel free to go ahead and enter your name on the right hand side in the comments. This is Justin Phillips with Support Black College, and we're gonna go ahead and kick off in a minute. So it looks like, and this is the first time I'm using this, so it looks like we have somebody that's coming on live now. We have somebody from the mastermind group. So we got about 9 people coming live. Okay. So what's up, y'all? What's going on? I know that we usually have our meetings. What's going on, Ari? I know we usually have our meetings within the private Facebook group and on Zoom on Tuesdays. But I wanted to do do something a little bit different. That's why I ended up doing some tests a little bit earlier. But I look forward to this. This is gonna be fire. Justin, we had some conversation before we ended up starting, and so what I want everybody to do in the group is like I don't know. I looked on the type form. I didn't see many questions. So what I want you to do is put your questions over here on the comment section. And as me and Justin are going through the conversation, I'll read off those questions and I'll be interactive with y'all that way. All right. So that's how we'll go ahead and do it. But let's go ahead and kick it off, bro. Justin, I appreciate you being here, man.
Well, I appreciate it.
Learned about, y'all's brand, sometime back, but I didn't know you. Right. So I happened to be on Clubhouse not too long ago, bro. And, I heard you talking, and I think you were talking about influencers and just how you end up, y'all reach out to people all day. And I definitely want to talk about that today. Right after that, I was like, well, let me just go ahead and hit my brother up. So I was like, man, would you do like a paid speaking of something? And you showed love and was just like, man, I'll do it for y'all for free, man. So I appreciate your generosity, bro.
And that's nothing. I'm grateful to be able to give value and not have to worry about like how I'm going to make money. So it's just like when I can give value, let's do it.
Right. For sure. Well, cool, man. Well, listen, let's go ahead and start here. Support Black colleges. I read, I think I checked you out on, I think David Shan's you and a few different things, but give us the backstory. I know you got like a full story. I think you had like a screenshot on your Instagram, like 2 cents in your bank account or something.
Yeah.
Walk us through like how you started and how you got involved with this, bro.
Yeah, so I'm gonna try to condense it because, like you said, it's a full story. But essentially, me and Corey met in college. Him and his cousin had already started the brand up, and that was back in 2012. I was a freshman; he was a sophomore. We ended up becoming friends, and I just wanted to help out. I was just being a good friend. Hey, you guys don't have an Instagram? Here you go. You guys don't have a Twitter? Here you go. Let me get you guys a couple hundred followers, get you started out, being a shoot for you. Y'all do y'all thing. I make my money throwing parties, doing my thing that way. So I was like, cool. So then, 4 or 5 years later, they was just playing with it back and forth, $1,500 a month, $2,000 a month, some stuff like that. And then Corey was like, yo, bro, it's not working out with me and my cousin. I feel like you would be a good partner to have in this. Let's take it seriously. And kind of lollygagged around for like 5-6 months. Didn't really take the opportunity. And then something happened in Houston and I just had to get up out of there. I was like, man, let me get out of Houston and let's just, start new somewhere. And then down to Atlanta, me and Corey started taking the business seriously. And that first month after I moved down, we did, I think like our first 5-figure month, 20,000, 30,000, something like that. Wow. And we just started growing the business from there. So now 2 years later from 2018, when I moved down here, where, we did multiple 7 figures within 2 years.
Right. No, that's powerful, bro. That's an amazing story. And it's like you took a leap of faith and, y'all had a vision and started building something. One question I want to ask for you is like, when it comes down to you starting, right? You said you had your first 5-figure month. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people that I come across that are at the very beginning stages, right? And they're just trying to get some traction and try to get things off the ground. What are some of the things that you did, like marketing and sales wise, to really get that traction at the very beginning?
Yeah, we just started doing, 3 things really. Well, really 4. So one, I learned paid advertising. So I literally it was tough because, you see so many gurus, you see so many teachers, you see this and that. And I was just on YouTube literally studying. And then one day it kind of hit me. It was like, yo, bro, if you don't just pick somebody to follow and just execute, then you're never going to do it. So I ended up just picking one random dude on YouTube, saw what he was doing, got a consultation with him for $100, realized was really, about that life and really doing this. And I said, you know what, let me just buy this guy's course, got his course, and then just sat there and consumed the whole thing in the first like day or two.
Wow.
Then they putting in those, those tactics that I learned, which was paid ads. Then after that, Facebook and Instagram. Then after that, influencer marketing. In the beginning, earlier stages, we were, paying the shade room, paying, bigger pages like that to get the initial traction because we knew that's where the attention was because we didn't have it just yet. So influencer marketing, paid ads, then we did a lot of grassroots marketing too. We're talking about any event that had more than 1,000, 5,000 African American people. We're calling them up, setting up a vendor's table, and going out there and doing our thing, passing out flyers, straight grassroots stuff. And then other than that, we were just doing a lot of content creation. So curation and creation as well. So on our page, we make it a hub for the community. Anything Black, anything college, anything news, we're posting it before anybody else, which is allowing us to get the attention that we want. So we operate more as a media company rather than a clothing brand that's trying to sell. So we post the news, we get the attention, and then hey, we sell clothes too. So that's the four things that we were doing really well in the beginning.
Right. No, that's powerful, bro. So I mean, you said a whole bunch right there. So I guess the first thing is like, I want to talk about one of the last things you said, social media, right? When it comes down to social media, you talked about making it a media hub as opposed to, you'll look at some social media profiles and they'll have a list of shirts, you know what I'm saying? A whole bunch of shirts, their clothing and nothing really else. How important is that social engagement on your Instagram and on your Facebook to drive sales? How does that tie in?
Lately I've been thinking it's probably the most important thing. And I say that because a lot of people aren't being forward thinking right now, because we all know that once marketers come into a space, then the price per conversion, the price per click, the price per everything starts going up. So everybody's getting wind of Facebook ads, Instagram ads, and there's a lot of people coming into to that space, including big box stores, Target, Walmart, these type of people that have millions of dollars and they don't care if they're getting the conversion. They're just using it for brand awareness.
Right.
I argue now that the organic and the hub and the community is more important because as those prices go up, if you're converting at a $5, $5 per purchase, but that's all you can afford, once all the marketers come in and your price goes to 10, 15, you could be out of business. So it's very important to build that organic, build your list, your email, your text subscribers, things of that nature, because I personally see cost inevitably going up and having to rely more so organic on it than everything else anyways.
Absolutely. So, I mean, even just speaking on that, bro, like how has things like as far as your advertising fared out, during the holiday Q4? Because I mean, I know it's great, right? I'm sure you got a great email list. I think I saw when I listened to your book, you have like a text message list. So you got a lot of that back end. You own that traffic. You own those customer data. But when you were running ads for Q4, have you seen a spike in costs and CPMs?
No, luckily it went down. I mean, and honestly, I think that's only because, there's buyer's intent. Like everyone trained, we live in America, they're trained to shop on those days. So you're talking about Black Friday, 100x ROAS, like, just stupid. Like the next day, maybe like 57, and the day after that, 20, and it obviously tapered off. But we ended up right around like an 800% return for the weekend.
Right. That's crazy, bro. I mean, those are insane numbers, bro. Congratulations on it, man. That's huge. That's huge. So, all right. So check this out. You also talked about influencers, and I know that's a lot of what you do. I think when I was listening on Clubhouse, I think you talked about y'all reach out to people like all day long.
Yeah.
Like, what is your process for somebody who, has a brand? They may be running some ads, but they're trying to find who to reach out to as far as influencers. How would they go about that? What should they do? What are some steps that they can take?
Yeah, definitely. Well, first I would probably just think about, my brand messaging and just the brand in general, like what type of people am I speaking to? And then I would figure out which influencers speak to those people at large. So, for us, Black colleges, Chris Paul, he currently goes to Winston-Salem State now, and he advocates his whole family went to HBCUs. That makes sense for us. Okay, cool. So now I can reach out to people like that, but that's a bigger person. So you can also use, micro influencers, things of that nature as well. But the way I do it is I really just find one person that I'm really interested in on Instagram, and then I'll just use the similar accounts tab, and then I'll just scroll through it all day. So like you kind of get in a rabbit hole of, you know, this one person led me to all of these people, and then I just go and double back and check them out on socialblade.com, something along those lines, to make sure that their engagement is actually real. But
Right.
it's finding those people, you know, you find one and then you just go down the rabbit hole and just keep it going.
Right. So let's pick that apart a little bit further. So you said Social Blade. So I'm guessing that's a tool
Yeah.
to be able to see what people who have real engagement or real, you know,
Real.
like that, right?
Going to show you, you know, how many followers they have, what percentage of people comment on their stuff, what percentage of people like their stuff, and also just give you an actual percentage of how many followers are real versus fake. So you can kind of say, oh, well, this person has 1 million followers, but only 1% of their audience is taking action on their page. But
Right.
this 500,000, but 10% of their audience is engaged with them. I'd rather go with that person than the latter, or the first one.
Absolutely. No, that's good. That's good. And so what's the opening script in a DM that you send? Is it, you know, hey, I'm Justin, you know, support Black colleges. This is what we do. Do you like what's the script? How do you go about it?
Yeah, I mean, the script is actually really simple. I personally don't tell the story at all. I'm on call. I personally don't tell a story at all because they don't care, one. And then two, that just makes the message a lot longer. When I'm an influencer, if you're an influencer, you're looking at something, you don't particularly care. And honestly, I'm shying away from it if it's longer in general.
Right.
So the first thing that I say is very simple. I say, hey, are you accepting any paid promotions right now? If so, what's your size and your address? That lets them know, one, hey, I'm willing to pay you for your services. I have respect enough for you to reach out and offer you money. Two, it gets me your address, it gets me your size. So now I can pick and choose whatever I want to send you. And now I don't have to reach back out to you again. So if I get a response to that first message, I have everything that I need to go ahead and send a package out to you, to hopefully that you wear it. And, you know, most of the time you find that you don't even have to say your message, but if you reach out to someone and they say, oh, well, this person's willing to pay me, let me go check out what they got going on. Oh man, I love this brand and what it stands for. Go ahead, send me whatever for free. And then you don't even have to end up paying. But I'll either do that or, bro, I'm talking about as simple as, hey, let me get you some free gear.
Right.
Literally, that's it. Like, but the first one is a little bit more strategic because, you know, you can get everything you need from it, but it's not that difficult, bro. I'm not laying it all on the line or anything.
Right. Keep it simple. That's valuable gems, y'all. So definitely you know, go ahead and pick it up. You ain't got to be too lengthy, you know what I'm saying, when it comes to your approach. Now tell me this, when they get the gear, right, and they might wear it and they might tag you, how do you use that to drive sales? Do you ever ask anybody to put a link in the bio? Like, what do you do? Like, what's your process when they do get it?
So when we get creative from these influencers, the first thing I'm doing, especially if they're bigger influencers, like let's just take Chris Paul for example. Chris Paul sends me some pictures. First thing I'm doing is running a Facebook ad against it, but I'm targeting his audience. So now I'm showing a creative from this influencer. I'm targeting their exact audience. So when the audience sees it, they say, "Oh wow, this is my favorite basketball player brand. Let me go ahead and shop with them." That's one thing I'm doing. The second doing is leveraging it to get more influencers. So now once I land my first one, I go and hit up all of these other people, 10 to 15 people per hour, and I say, hey, are you offering any paid promotions? Blah, blah, blah. Chris Paul just wore our stuff. Bro, you missing out, Kevin Durant. Like, what's up with you? Like, come on, bro. You gonna let him outdo you? You know, that type of thing. So then I use the pictures to get and entice other influencers as well. And then also, you know, just post it on social media, that type of thing too.
That's powerful. Hey, y'all, go ahead and pick up these gems, man. He dropping them off, and make sure, like, y'all go ahead and put some questions in the comments, right? Family, like, we got Justin here. You know what I'm saying? We got his time. Whatever questions come to mind, just don't don't comment on the conversation. Go ahead and put y'all questions, and I'll go ahead and make sure I ask them. All right, so go ahead and do that. All right, bro. So let's talk about this, man. The next thing that you know, you talked about was you know, advertising. You do paid advertising.
Right.
So that's a lot what I've built my business, you know, through, you know, paid ads. Right. That's a lot what I teach is paid ads. What if for somebody starting ads, what are the key components that you feel like you need at the very beginning to test and figure out what works?
Yeah, one, Well, when you're running ads, there's only three things that really matter in my perspective. The creative that you're using, the targeting that you are, using, and then also the ad copy. If you
Mm,
get those three things correct, then you're golden. If you get any one of those three things wrong, you're fried.
right.
So those are the three things that you really just need to lock in on. But yeah, I mean, that's really it, bro. If you can put a message in front of people that they resonate with that also looks good, they'll purchase, bro. Those are
They
the you can get those right, you're good.
got it, got it. That's solid. So yeah, y'all go ahead and make sure y'all take those gems, right? You need those three different pieces. All right, so we got a question, bro. Somebody asked, how are you deciding which designs to go with? Any particular process? I think that's a good one because I think people who are new and they just started a brand, they're trying to figure out like, okay, what's the design that's going to attract people where I can start getting sales? And so, kind of, how was that process? How would you look at that and approach that?
Yeah, so there's a few things. One, I'll just ask the audience. A lot of what we do is just, hey, we're thinking about doing this and that. Which one do you like better? Because my thing is that I feel like I'm a smart guy, but I'm not the smartest. So I'd rather listen to the market rather than debate like I'm smart and I know what they want. So I just put it out to the marketplace and say, hey, what do you guys like? Oh, that's what we going with. Because it just makes them the market is always right. You're never right. Even if you feel like your idea is the best, until it gets proven in the market, you're just speculating.
Absolutely.
So that's one way. Another way that we personally use is we have like a group of people that over the years that we've, just kind of cultivated. Anytime somebody like, likes our picture or comments or whatever, we'll always reach out to them and see if they want to be a part of our I guess it's like this app called Crewfire. So guys use that as well. It's called Crewfire. And essentially what we do is we bring them into our crew fire, and then all that lets us do is anytime that we start a group meet with them, and then we put them in crew fire. So for essentially over the years we built up a group meet of like 250 300 college students that are like heavily active on our Instagram because they've been commenting, liking, all of that. And then instead of me thinking, oh, I have a great idea, let's put it out, I just throw it in the group meet like, yo, what do you guys think? Hey, this is for Howard. What do the Howard students think? Like, blah, blah, blah. What events do we need to go to? Like, literally anything. So now I have 200, 300 people doing some work for me for free that is giving me the most raw data because they're literally on campus at all times.
Right.
So, and then you use Crewfire. What it does is it lets all of those people, once you get their emails and phone numbers to get them into your group me, you put it into Crewfire, and then it sends them an email and a text message every time every time you post. So then it'll be like, yo, Support Black College just post. Go like it, and within the first 5 minutes for 10 points, go comment in the first 5 minutes for 15 points. And they're incentivized by if you get 100 points, you get a free hoodie. If you get 500 points, you get a free blah, blah, blah. So that's another way. Shit, I'm trying to think.
Yo, that crew fire thing is fire, bro.
Yeah.
Oh my god, I never even heard of that before, bro.
And pick them up. Pick them up.
Bro. Like, I think that's so dope, bro. Like, especially like you said, you just building an audience of, your most engaged people, the people who are really locked in. And so when it comes to releasing products, that makes it so much easier for y'all. So that's dope. Like, y'all listen, go ahead and listen to that. Like, that's pure game. Like, I love that, bro. I never even heard of that app before. So does that do all the incentivizing and all the points and stuff?
It does all that for you. And then once they hit the points, you just shoot them off their package. And then now you got literally raving fans of the brand that are willing to share. Like, bro, it's crazy.
Right. That's fire, bro. Well, no, that's good game, man. Somebody in the audience, bro, they asked, so for influencers who do charge, they asked what's a reasonable price to pay an influencer.
Well, that's difficult because influencers are humans, and it's very difficult to price yourself as a human. So the real answer to that question is whatever you can afford to pay them. So
Right.
usually what I'll do is have a budget in mind and then just kind of hit them up and see what they're willing to do. But you also have to just kind of gauge it. Like what I usually do is just ask them, do they have any case studies? Have they worked with any other brands? The big key is really just going to look at what they've done with other brands before you, because I found that when I got not burned, but like wasted some money or took a L is because I didn't do the proper research on how they were engaging other brands. And especially with like, I was working with some YouTubers. So working with YouTubers, and I didn't even go look at the older videos that they did with brands, but I knew that they had a big following. So then when they posted our video and it wasn't how I wanted, I went back and looked at some other videos and like, oh yeah, I could have just easily just dodged that bullet. But what you want to do when you're working with influencers, what's my budget? Am I willing to pay this? Does it seem like it'll work out? Is their engagement real? How do they work with other brands? And does it align with my message? And then just get them a code, so at least you know what they're actually bringing in.
Right. No, that's dope, bro. That's really good. That's powerful. And so yeah, y'all got that game on that. Now listen, I got somebody else who asked about Google Ads. So let's kind of maybe switch platforms a little bit. I think when I was going through your book, I think you mentioned like somebody that you use for Google Ads. But talk to me about how Google Ads plays into support Black colleges.
Google Ads is super important. It's like when we talk about free game all the time, like Google Ads is like free awareness, dog. Like honestly, because Google owns YouTube. So whenever you're running ads on YouTube, if you have, if they watch 1 to 29 seconds of it, then you don't pay for it. But once they hit that 30-second mark, you actually pay for that view. So everybody should be doing YouTube ads because you're getting free brand awareness until they hit that 30-second mark. So Google ads too, when you're showing up as a paid ad in the organic search, people are seeing your brand name whenever they're searching for whatever item. The good thing about it is that it's intent based. So you don't pay unless they click, and you don't pay unless they show up for a keyword that you're trying to rank for. So I mean, Google Ads, bro, it's taking the business next level because it's just an intent based ad platform. Someone searches for Black college hoodie, we're right there, and that's really that. So we've seen like maybe 500 600% return just from Google ads alone, and that's just something you set up and you don't touch at all after that. So
right, sounds good. And so do you all do your Google ads yourself, or do you outsource?
I outsource to a freelancer.
Okay, all right, cool. Have you ever used Upwork or anything before?
Yeah, definitely. I use Upwork, Freelancer, Fiverr, all of the whole lot. But I find that Upwork has the most reliable freelancers. At freelancer.com, you can negotiate, and then it's like mid tier, and then Fiverr is like sometimes bottom tier, but you can get it for a really good price. But if you can find a good freelancer on Fiverr, then that's somebody you could rock with for a minute, because you $10-15 a graphic and they're solid.
Yeah, easy. No, that's solid, bro. So no, that's good. I like what you talked about there. I always say like the Facebook ads and Instagram ads, it's like, it's like direct response, you know what I'm saying? Interruption, right? People aren't looking for it, but you're totally right. It's intent based on Google. And so, yeah, man, just for you to pop up, do you have like the dynamic ads on Google pop up like on a CNN or ESPN or different websites like that?
We're all over, once you get them, 90 days, I'm following, brother, so I'm with you. So definitely we do paid. I mean, yeah, we do pay-per-click, and regular organic search. We do shopping ads, and then we do the dynamic as well.
Got it. Cool, man. So outside of Google and Facebook, are there have you ever dipped into Snapchat or Pinterest? Have you done anything outside of those two?
Yeah, honestly, that's something I've been looking at more so, like Snapchat, TikTok, things of that nature. And I think I'll dive into them, maybe 5% of the budget 1 month just to go and check it out. Because I'm big on like trying to be forward thinking. So, if these are platforms where there's attention, but the ad product isn't all the way there yet, then we can probably get, some purchases or some clicks for a way cheaper price than we do on Facebook and Instagram right now.
Absolutely. No, that's good. That's good, bro. All right, cool. So I'm going through the questions, man. And so it looks like Jen, she asked my question. I think we might have talked about it. My IG feed is just about my design. Should I be incorporating media and other non-sales things in my feed?
Yeah, definitely. And I'll give you a little tactic on how you can kind of finesse that. So a lot of people get hemmed up on it because they think that they have to create content all day long, which is difficult for the mind to wrap around, because I have to do work, like I have to do this type of thing that I'm not a graphic designer. I'm not, that type of thing starts to come in your head. So the trick that you use is you can create content, but you can also curate it as well. So of what we were doing in the beginning was just curating content. What I would do was we found a bunch of pages that were similar to ours, and we would just turn on notifications for those pages. And a lot of them, it's funny because a lot of them were like posting really good content, but just had no followers. But we knew how to build a social media following, so we would just turn on post notifications for like 5, 10 different pages that post news that we liked, and then we would just rip the content and curate it on our own page, and change something about it, or change our caption, or add an element to it, and then it becomes our own. And now you're able to build that social media following by just curating content from somebody else. And you see it done all the time, fashion pages posting people that will look good in clothes, curate following, same thing.
Absolutely. No, that's fire. So no, great advice, y'all. Don't always feel like you gotta, create, curating, it makes it a lot easier, and that content is relevant to your audience. So good deal, bro. So somebody asked this, and I think we talked about this, and I would love to hit on it. The back end of your business, right? So, like you said, you've built text message lists, email lists. When it comes to building the back end, right, and selling to repeat customers and customer retention, how much do you focus on that? How much does that play into your brand, right? Because if you look on Shopify, we look at our analytics, we look at that right hand corner, it has that returning customer rate. So how are you always working on that? What do y'all do?
I try to keep it around 20% because it's much easier to sell to somebody that's already shopped with you than it is to get a new customer. So a lot of what we focus on is just the long-term value of the customer, and then also the average order value of the actual cart. Because what you end up finding is that you can supplement a little bit of the money that you make on the back end to help you acquire the customer on the front end. So if our average cart was $50, but we implemented things like a Sezzle or something like that lets people break their payments up. So now they're starting to spend a little bit more money, and we get our average cart value up to $70. Now we got $20, that we can use on the front end to acquire new customers. So, and then also on the back end, a lot of people only do like abandoned cart emails, and that's just where it ends for them. But they don't understand that you can do things like abandoned cart emails, customer win back, post-purchase, welcome email. You got 5, 10, 15 different flows that you can implement that can automatically get you thousands and thousands of dollars per month. We like to stay at around 30% of our revenue coming in from just automated emails.
Bro. That's really good. That's really good. So extremely powerful how you're using email to drive a lot of that revenue, whether it's new customer from abandoned carts and different things like that, or your returning customers. But y'all, those are good stats and good benchmarks to look at. 20% customer return rate, and then 30% of monthly revenue coming from automated email. So that's extremely powerful, bro. I want to ask something. You talked about customer acquisition, right? And this is what a lot of people run into when it comes to Facebook ads and just paid traffic, period, right? I always talk about when we are running ads, what we're doing is we're buying customers at the end of the day, right? And our first transaction is always going to be the most expensive, right? Well, like you said, we get them on the back end, we can do a drop, sell to them later on, and it's full profit at that point. But have you ever been in a place to where you're running ads and maybe, you might be losing on the front end, you might even break even on the front end? Has that ever happened to you before? And if so, kind of how do you think about that?
Yeah, so I have a different style than most. I'm pretty relentless when it comes to like killing and scaling ads.
Right.
If I don't have multiple profitable sales within the first 2 days, it's done for with me. Like, and if I'm breaking even and above, then I'll just let it roll and let it keep going, and then scale it vertically or horizontally. But if within the first 8,000 people that it reaches, if I don't have profitable sales, it's over with, and I'll just kill it and just try new interests, try different lookalikes, things of that nature.
Very interesting. Let's talk about this, bro, because I think that's really good. So first off, you talked about you set a campaign, you let it reach 8,000 people. If you're not profitable at that point, you let it go and redo stuff, right? Got it. Makes sense. All right. So one of the big things that a lot of people in our group, we always think about, and there's a lot of questions around this, is like, when do you get to a place to where you do start killing ads, right? You gave one tip there, but if it gets to, maybe day 3, day 4, maybe you're right at break even. But if it doesn't go further than that, Are you looking at ROAS? Are you looking at cost per purchase at all? Do you have like a benchmark for those numbers? Where
Yeah.
you are making adjustments? Like how do you go about that in the first few days?
Yeah, a lot of the times I look at the CPM just to see how much I'm paying for the 1,000 views. Also, I'm looking at the frequency rate. If it's over 2, I'll probably kill it because I'm just running through the audience too fast. And then naturally, the audience experience ad fatigue. So I'm looking a lot at the frequency. I'm looking a lot at the CPM.
Right.
Those are pretty much the two biggest that I'm pretty much paying attention to, honestly.
Right.
That's really it. It's not anything too crazy, bro.
Right. Don't go crazy into it. No, so that's good. And I think those are, good benchmarks to really look at. And so somebody in the group, they asked, when you say scale ad vertically or horizontally, what do you mean?
Yeah, so when you're scaling vertically, you're just spending more money. So you're duplicating and you're taking it from a $25 budget to a $50 budget. When you're scaling horizontally, you're going into your ads performance and looking at what's doing the best. Is the 18 to 24 age group doing the best? Is iPads doing the best? What platform, which gender, which age, those types of things. And then you're duplicating that specific ad set and then only targeting that specific person. So if it's 18 to 24 males on Apple products, you're duplicating it and spending money there as well because that targeted audience is performing the best in that specific ad set.
Right. Solid. So I promise you I won't make this about a full because this turned into a full Facebook conversation. And I'm all good with that, but I want to touch on some other parts. But when it comes, so say for instance, you have an ad, you might be running a lower budget, right? And you find something that works, right? And so at that point, you want to figure out how to scale up. Now, a couple of things that, are done are, you could take an ad, you might duplicate it and maybe increase the budget. You might take that original ad and increase the budget originally. How do you, when you find something that works, how do you scale that vertically, right?
Yeah. So there's a few things you can do. Oh, I mean, you hit it on the nail, just duplicating the budget when it's doing well, after, 2 to 4 days of it being profitable, we duplicate it to see how it goes. A lot of other times what we'll do is just it depends on how many interests you're running. So, with us, we might be running 50 to 100 interests, at any given time.
Wow.
So do is, after a few days and seeing what performs the best, we'll just take the top 10 and just throw them into a CBO. And then if CBO does well, then we'll duplicate that, scale that vertically. So now you're going into scaling your CBOs vertically and horizontally rather than just your interest.
Right. No, that's powerful. And I think that's something for everybody listening to pay attention to. I mean, my bro, he just said what y'all might run how many interests at once?
Oh my God. When I first started, I was doing 10 off a rip. So
right.
I couldn't even tell you.
Right. So yeah, I mean, they just running a ton of interest, right? And then he's talking about running a ton and then just taking the top 10 that are working and throwing that into a CBO. So I mean, just right off the bat, you should look at that as like there's some major testing going on, right? It's not just like run one way. He's finding different veins of gold and then scaling it up from there. So I think that's extremely powerful, bro. All right. So I saw a good question on here. Somebody asked, what are the top 3 growth moments in the brand and what are the lessons learned? So maybe a few different situations you can look at to be like, okay, I was at this level and this took me here, right? Kind of what can you think of any moments like that for you?
The only thing that's coming to mind is every time I locked in bigger influencers, it just took it next level, that, and then also really just getting a better understanding of paid ads. Every time I started to understand more, I was able to scale the business higher because, you're talking about going from spending $50 a day to understanding and profitably spending $1,000 to $2,500 a day. Black Friday spending $10,000 to $40,000 a day. When you get to those types of numbers, growth is inevitable, if you know what you're doing. So really just getting the understanding of paid ads and then also, locking in these bigger influencers because one person like a Chris Paul or whatever, it just changes the business for you. So I like to argue with some people like, hey, I can just sit in my bed all day and hit up 10 to 15 people all day long. And my business development might be better than yours because you're going out and trying to sell to people on the street. I might just Michelle Obama at 2:30 a.m. on a Tuesday and just change my life completely. So
Right.
I think, the big growth moments were landing bigger influencers and then just getting a real understanding of paid ads. And I learned from those things that there's a big opportunity cost by letting time go by. Because when I first started learning paid ads, I always told myself, man, I'm about to just learn everything and I'm gonna get it perfect. And my first campaign is gonna be the one that hits. So I lied to myself thinking that I had to learn everything and get it 100% squared away or it wasn't gonna work for me. But I did that for months. Then I just realized, like I said before, one day it just said, hey, bro, if you're not gonna do it, if you don't do it today, it's not gonna happen. But then I realized now one of my biggest mistakes was lying to myself for those 3 months, because where would we be now if I had 3 to 6 months more of execution rather than thinking?
Right, right. I think that's powerful. I think when I was listening to your book, I think it definitely talked about how you
Right.
kind of waited for a while and then,
Yeah.
you finally pulled the trigger. And so, just getting out of your mind, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? You said just executing imperfect action, you know what I'm saying?
That-
Like, done is better than perfect, right? And I feel like the best lessons, are learned when you start, taking steps anyway, right? So from the experience, I love that, bro. That's
yeah.
good.
Fact, perfect is just the excuse to not execute. That's all that
That's good, man. That's a quote for all in itself. Perfect.
is.
Not an excuse. It's just an excuse not to execute. I love that, bro. That's good. That's good. All right, man. So look, real quick, rewind real quick. When you do your ad sets, are you doing single interest ads? Are you just doing one interest within an ad?
Yeah, I am. So especially when I first started, whenever I talk to like a beginner, hey, just do 10 different ad sets, all at $5, $50 a day. And obviously skew that based on what you can afford. But that's what I did, bro. 10 ad sets, $5 a day. And some of them that were over a million people in the interest, I would just let's narrow it by engaged shopper. Um, so that was my strategy when I first started, and within the first like few months, that's held strong at a 400% or 4x ROAS for a long time. So
Right.
easy
Good.
stuff.
Yeah, good deal, good deal. So look, man, I mean, just look at what you talk about, and I just love the fact of how you putting out there, bro. And you just like it ain't got to be too complicated, right? It ain't got to be too difficult. You following the easy formula. Single interest ad. He narrows it down with engaged shoppers, and test a lot of different things, right? And we talked about before. If it looks good, if you got the message, if you're targeting the right audience, you can have some things that'll click. Have you ever got to a place to where you boosted the budget and then the performance just continued to like it just went away at that point in time when you increased?
Yeah, sometimes that happens. I mean, and you even see that even with bigger like Black Friday. You're talking about 100x ROAS the first day. I was like, bro, I'm about to be a billionaire. Like,
Right,
and
right.
it goes down to be at 8x for the whole weekend. So yeah, definitely, bro. I think everybody ends up going through that.
Right, absolutely, man. All right, cool, bro. So, all right. So, look. So, I saw a question. Somebody asked, "Do you do it as far as your inventory in house, or do you outsource?" I think this is something we talked about before. The call.
Yeah, so we do a little bit of both. We use a site called Alpha Broder to get our hoodies. And what Alpha Broder is essentially, if you don't know, you order something before the cutoff time, it comes to you tomorrow based on where you are and if they have the inventory. Most of the time, it will 1 to 2 days max. Um, and then the rest of our stuff comes from Pakistan. So we'll order stuff overseas. It'll come already packed, sealed, ready to go, and we just ship it on out.
Right, right, right. That's good, man. So, within at your warehouse, how many people work in the operation? How do you go about getting help as you've grown over time?
Yeah, we got about 25 people in here now.
Right.
Over time, we just realized that we needed help. Like, I'm really big on just delegating stuff that either I don't want to do or that I just can't afford to do anymore because the time is more valuable spent elsewhere. So I like to just operate from a higher level now. And my thing is just picking up different avenues and then getting them to the place to where I can give them to someone else. So I go do some keyword research on Amazon, realize that we got 20 to 30,000 people looking for us there. Well, let me go get the Amazon channel started up. Oh, got it started. All right, cool. Hey, 5,000 to $2,000 a month. Come automate this for me. That's stuff that I'm doing now. Just, getting different sales channels and then automating them. So we just bring in more revenue per month.
No, that's good. That's good. That's solid. And that's something that definitely, I mean, we talked about before how I'm planning to just get, I'm leaving, I'm going back to more of a print on demand model because that part of the business, I felt like it wasn't for me. But I just love the fact that, like you said, things that you don't like to do, you delegate, you push it off, you're building systems, and that's really going to help you grow over time. You know what I'm saying? In the absence of you being involved in a lot of those places. So I think that's powerful. Somebody asked, how did you find a reliable vendor in Pakistan?
How did I find them? I feel like I went on probably like Alibaba or AliExpress, just tested out a bunch of different people and then found one that was reliable. And then once I find one that's reliable, I use them for everything. So the good thing about these different people out there is that most of the time they're either hungry to get the money. So if you ask them for anything, they're going to figure out how to do it, or they know someone that knows how to do it. So my book, I gave away all of my manufacturers and stuff too. Yeah. So look, once you find one good one, you just run with them.
Right. Absolutely. No, that's good, bro. So as far as like TikTok or not TikTok, as far as your text message, how much are you utilizing that in the business?
We're using it a lot, bro. I mean, every single drop that we do, definitely getting a text blast. We also do abandoned cart sequence with text messages as well. Mm-hmm. That's too powerful. You're talking about text messages, 90 to 98% are getting open. Yeah. And, 50, we're seeing 57% converting on, all of the messages that we're sending out. Yeah. So, yeah, we're using it a lot every single day. But when we're doing bigger drops, we're just sending out to the complete list.
Right. No, that's solid, bro. So yeah, you know what I'm saying? Drops, new products. Are y'all releasing new products frequently, or it's kind of like, do you have a cadence or a schedule? How do you go about that?
We try to do, something new, at least every month. But what I'm finding is that it's a lot easier to schedule things around times that people already have intent to purchase or are already going to be like in the joyful mood. So, we'll drop something on July 4th. We'll drop something on, all of the different holidays because people are already going to be on their phone because it's a holiday they don't have to do. And then also what we're really leveraging is like different current events. So I found that that's like super powerful because something new happens and you instantly have a product for them that relates to that certain thing that happens. Those people are ready to instantly buy almost. So for an example, when Kobe Day came by, 8/24, we dropped a shirt that had Kobe holding our logo doing, a dunk or whatever. And it resonated well for people because that's all they were talking about on Instagram that day. And that one t-shirt alone did $100,000 in the one day alone.
Crazy, dog. That's insane.
You got to do that type of stuff. So now anything that happens, especially if we can support too, it helps out a lot. So like, George Floyd and all the social injustice. Well, we're support Black colleges. What do we have to say about this? Let's have a shirt that says support Black lives. Another shirt that did $100,000 in one day. Going with those current events and then going with the holidays. Though that's pretty much what we're doing. And then anything else that we want to drop, because we want to, we'll do that too.
That's good. No, that's solid, man. That's crazy when you could just have a one shirt release and it just generates all that revenue. I mean, that's a beautiful thing.
Didn't even have the shirt straight.
Yeah. That's even better. You know what I'm saying? Ain't even printed yet.
No inventory, hadn't seen it myself at all.
That's when you making it happen, man. That's good stuff, bro. Absolutely. Somebody asked you, I think this is an H-Town reference. They asked, is it Timmy Chan's or Frenchie?
Definitely the reference. That's tough, bro. That's tough. I think Frenchie's got the better chicken for certain, but Chan's just when you need that fried rice on the side, you know what I'm saying? You got to go and take that. It just depends on the feeling.
Okay, yeah. It depends on the mood. So yeah, I think we got a few Houston people up in here. So that's what's up, bro. That's good, man. That's good. So look, bro. What's the big vision, right? We'll wrap up in a little bit. What's the big vision for Support Black Colleges? Where do you see y'all taking this? How long has the brand been running right now?
Since 2012, so right around 8 years.
8 years. So kind of, if you look up another, 5 years, right? Where y'all looking to go with?
Man, it's tough because, we only been taking it seriously 2 years because I just got involved 2 years ago.
Right.
But 5, 10 years out, I think that possibly we can be somewhere around like, 100 million. We're taking it to 8 figures next year for sure. Um, just through, wholesale channels and then just doubling revenue that we have now. And then the end goal really is just to be doing everything Black owned, honestly. Having our own warehouse space that we're literally sourcing the fabric, sourcing the materials, doing it all ourselves from start to finish. Because it kind of bothers me knowing that we're a Black owned business, but it's not Black owned start to finish. So
Right.
we're going for Black owned start to finish and then like a Black Nike type of thing. So that's what we're looking at, man.
Right. No, that's solid, man. That's a great vision. And just, yeah, with everything going on in the culture, man, a lot of, it's funny too. I'm sure that, I probably, maybe y'all are more, people know who are behind your brand, but I know, even though a lot of, my brand, other Black owned brands, those questions, those emails come in. Is this a Black owned business? Right. And I think that is something big, for our culture to support each other and just know that it is Black owned.
Definitely. We get that all the time.
Yeah. I think we hear that a lot. So yeah, bro, that's dope, man. So listen, man, I know that you have a book. Like I said, y'all have been, hearing me mention this throughout, the conversation. My brother has an ebook that he put out. I went ahead and I bought that. I got the audio version. So tell us about the book, man. What's it about? What have you created and put together?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep it real short because I'm not the type to like come on here and try to do all.
It's all good though, bro. I want you to, because at the end of the day, and I'm gonna let you go. I don't want to cut you off. What you have created is something that's valuable, right? And I know you're a person, and I like what you say, bro. You say, I know how to make money. I'm not gonna try to charge for anything. It's about your legacy. I've heard you say that, and I think that's like a great thing. But you have packaged something and you've put it together with value. And so go ahead and tell us what you made, bro.
Yeah, so I mean, essentially, we've been doing e-commerce for 2 years straight, every single day, full. So all I really did was I sat down for 2 weeks straight and wrote down literally everything that I know about e-commerce, start to finish, how to go from literally zero all the way down to doing, we just did our first $1 million month last month. So you're talking about scaling from 0 to 7 figures a month. That's it, bro. All of my vendors, everyone that I'm using in my personal business, all of my freelancers, Google, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, everything, man. That's
Wow.
it.
Powerful. So yeah, man, y'all go check him out, man. It's at Idaho Nation. That's him on Instagram. Go follow him. His book is on there. When I post that, I'll put it in the link. And man, go support the brother. Like, it's valuable. You see all the gems that he's dropping on us today. This is a business that, 7-figure month. I mean, come on, bro. Like, so why wouldn't you want to listen to get, to learn, the things that he's implemented to grow your business. So that's dope, bro.
Yeah, brother.
Well, any closing remarks, man? Where can people find you? Where we want to go? What you want to do?
Yeah, so and you know what, I just love to provide the value, bro. So look, if don't, bro, come to my Instagram at Idaho Nation and ask me a question. I'm willing to help anybody for free, and any quick question you got, I'm down to help you out. So follow me on Instagram at Idaho Nation. Ask me a question, and I'll give you the game for free. And if you feel that I provided you value in that way, then go and grab the book. I don't even want to make this a whole sales thing at the end because that's not me, but.
For sure. This is a good dude, man. This is a good dude. So these are the last two questions I'm gonna put out there. Somebody asked, have you ever got funding before?
No.
No funding.
No, we started $1,000. Corey had $20,000 in inventory. My business partner, I had $10,000 in my account. I sent them 10,000. We did a handshake deal, 50-50, and we ain't looked back since. So no funding from nobody. And we pride ourselves on that too. Like, we bootstrapped it. Like, if we sell it and we sell it for millions, whenever, it was all off the strength of the work that we put in.
Right. That's powerful, man. So you got it from the mud and they put it back into the business.
Right.
And what's the meaning of Idaho Nation?
Oh, that's just like a little thing from back home. So like when in Houston, when you like roasting or chopping, like whatever, they call it like hoeing. So like, I was just always good at roasting folks back when we was in college or in high school. So it was just like a little group that my friends put together, and I just like was being funny and changed it to my Instagram name, and I just kept it like that forever. So, hey,
right, there we go.
Look, random, bro.
There we go. There we go. Hey, well, my brother, look, man, solid dude, man. I appreciate this conversation, bro. This has been extremely valuable, man. And I know that y'all are busy during the holidays getting orders out. Many blessings to what you got going on, my brother. Y'all go ahead and make sure y'all follow him, and we'll be in touch, bro. I appreciate you, man.
Bro, you got my number now, so let's just lock in. We all good.
Absolutely, yeah. Matter of fact, and like we talked about, since we're here, I'm gonna pull up on y'all one of these days.
Oh, yeah, bro. We here all the time.
All right, man. Be cool, bro. I appreciate it.
Appreciate everything.
All right, bro. All right, y'all. So look, man, this was powerful. This is the first time that we did something like this, and I loved it, man. I feel like he gave so much gems, man. I'm inspired, man. I'm inspired. I think that it's good to have these conversations, and I think it's going to be one of my bigger missions to have more of these moving forward. It's just valuable. It's valuable. I appreciate y'all, man. I'm so like, I love our group. I love what we got going on. I love this family, and just everything, man. And I'm just so proud of y'all. And I just want y'all to take this information. It's useless. It's one thing to get inspired by it, but it's another thing to get inspired and then implement, right? And one of the big strategies that I think I heard from Justin that I think that all of us should start tackling is basically like IG influencers. Find influencers. They talk about they DM influencers. We got the formula, we got the script about how they do it. And he talked about all you got to do if you find that one person, how can catapult your business. You know what I'm saying? We got money showers, got ladies dancing in a shirt, you know what I'm saying, in a sweatshirts and all type of stuff. And I think that that's just a powerful way to get it out there. So look, man, I'm inspired, and I hope that y'all inspired. And we got some good stuff coming down. So check this out. The way that this is going to work is I'm going to end the broadcast. I'll save it, and then I'll put it like in the group. I'll put it in the group, and we'll be able to get it. And I'll see if there's a way. There should be a way for me to be able to download it, and then I can load it into the portal so we can go back and listen to it. He dropped a lot of apps on us. I think one of them was called something Fire. I don't know. I'm gonna have to go back through some Fire. I think Crew Fire. That's one app. Social Blade, that's another one, right? And I think he put some other valuable resources on there. So we'll figure out I'll get a way to type those in, and we can be able to refer back. But I appreciate y'all, man. You know what I'm saying? I hope that you enjoyed it. Good work. Let's go ahead and get back to building for sure. He ain't leaving this easy. Sedano Barrett, he better. Hold on, let me see real quick. I'm going through y'all comments real quick. Hold on. Let me see, man. Let me make sure y'all ain't putting nothing on here. All right, cool. All right, bro. So cool, man. I'm gonna go ahead and post, man. Y'all be blessed. We'll talk a little bit later on. All right, cool.